gun in the States is, problematic. And what do you think about that?
Oh, what I think about, I used to be a hater of guns until I actually held one. Like Texas is a big gun state. We all have guns, and usually most of the people that commit all the crimes, they all have mental issues. Every single one of them, and most of them they got their guns illegally, or they got them legally, but they had but whoever did the background check on them didn't vet them properly, and usually most gun crimes end with a good person with a gun. Thankfully I've never been in a situation to where anyone's had to have a gun, or guns that happen. But within our Second Amendment, it's our Second Amendment rights to be able to have a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why the forefathers wrote that into the Bill of Rights was to prevent, like, say, someone from government coming over to your house and just doing whatever they want to. Like, we have a gun. They say, hey, look, I don't care if you're with the FBI, the CIA, or whatever. You're not coming into this house unless I say you can come into this house. And it's also to prevent, also to stop home invaders. I mean, I like it, but sometimes it has to happen. And unfortunately, one of my former students was actually killed by a gun because I don't know why he did this, but he was influenced by his stupid friends to go break into someone's house. And the house they broke into, the homeowners had a gun and he shot him, bam. And I'm sorry, and I'm sad that happened because I knew his brother who was also killed, but he was killed in a hate crime due to racism. But then his younger brother was killed due to doing something stupid. But I do understand the notion of it. But you also have some instances where people with guns that go trigger happy and it's like just kill someone just because they're mad at them. It's all about culture and about how people don't have respect for another person's life. If I were to own a gun, I would keep it in the house only for protection. I would like to use this if I can, but if I can't, get out of here. So I understand the notion for it.
But what if gun is prohibited?
Well, oh shit, that would be worse. That's why school shootings happen. That's why we have school shootings in school, because we have signs in schools that say this is a gun-free zone, and so and schools and that's why schools are targeted, because like, oh, nobody has a gun except for like the police officer that we have there. But my grandmother, she was a teacher, and for a while she actually carried a gun in class because there were some students that were just acting up at one point. Like some students used to get really crazy, so she used to have like a little Derringer gun in her purse. And I think she stopped doing it because the gun actually went off and shot her hip at one point. Was it her hip? Yeah, it was her hip. But yeah, she carried a gun at one point.
But my question was, do you think, isn't it better, more stable for the states not to have gun?
No, it would be unstable. Look at Chicago. Chicago has the highest gun violence especially in all of USA. Like our nickname for Chicago is Chirac, because the amount of deaths that happened in that city alone are equal to the amount of deaths in the country of Iraq. Imagine that. A city having as many deaths as you would of a country. That's crazy. And they have strict gun laws. Like nobody's allowed to have a gun. And all the bad people, they go out of Chicago or out of Illinois to get the gun, and then they drive back. And the police does nothing about it. The police are told to stand down. They're not allowed to do anything about it. And so the good people in Chicago had guns and had protection. They can protect themselves from all the bad people with guns. People don't like having to kill anybody, but if you have to protect yourself and your family, you have no choice.
So I think U.S. culture got so extreme, so it is really important for them to have guns.
Well, it's gotten even worse. Now, it's mainly because a lot of it was due to racism. Black people, we couldn't even own guns at one point because of that. because we needed ways to protect ourselves. Like from the KKK, there were laws set in place that if you're black, you cannot own a gun. You know, you have a lot of responsible black people that do own guns, and they have it for protection. We just don't talk about it because it's like, oh, gun nuts are white people. No, you got some black people with guns. But I got people in my family, my dad's and my mom's side of the family that owns guns. They have it for protection. So it's quite crazy. I mean, I'm not a big fan of guns, but I'm not going to go off and like tell people that they can't have a gun. You know, like I like to use my fist or like a melee weapon. But if I have to, I will learn to use a gun at the very least. So if the time comes, you know, I would have to. But that's just me.